It's 30 seconds. I don't.
And we're live. We're doing it.
We're doing it live.
Golly, look at that. I should have asked up front. Am I allowed to swear?
Yes. Oh, fuck yeah.
Oh, good. Yeah, fuck it. Let's do it live. All right.
All right, Alex.
Oh, me. I'm starting today. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Tavern Talks, episode 174. With me, Alex, and the lovely, if I'm gesturing the right way, Chuck. You're supposed to say your name, Chuck, aka Beaker Bills.
Yeah.
Yes,
Chuck, yeah.
that's you. Today we are joined by the very feminine and dainty, trademarked TTRPG drag queen of all things, wonderful in the world, Juicy Garland. Hello. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. Now, in a minute, we're going to ask you to do a quick intro, but first, we'd like to thank, before we get into it, the sponsors of our channel, and I have my master list, and I'm going to read it. So, first sponsor, Canadian Dice. Make great quality dice. If you're looking for any new to add to your collection, or your first set of dice, if you're not a dice goblin like me, you can get 15% off with code Misfit15 over at their website, and all the sponsors should be dropped in the chat next to us. If you would love some merch like I am wearing here from Tabletop Misfits or from Beaker Bills, the lovely logo behind Chuck there, you can go to dungeongrandmaster.com and buy one of the cool designs or any other designs that they have too. Or need audios for games or anything else, streams maybe, go to Monument Studios. They have over 5,000 professional audio sounds, and you can use code Misfit for 30% off or a full 3 months free. You can't beat it. We love free stuff, not even shipping or anything. It's right there. If you're
free
looking
always
for any
tastes better.
Free always does taste better, no matter what it is. We'll leave that there. But if you would like any more TTRPG games, including the Power Rangers TTRPG that Chuck himself runs every other Sunday on the channel, please go to Renegade Game Studios with our affiliate link that should be in the chat as well. That would be great. We get a little bit of money and everyone gets money off, and it's great. For some of our newer sponsors, again, that Chuck has been using in Beaker Builds on Thursdays at Last Hope Printing, you can get 40% off minis and paints with the code Misfits, which is massive. That's almost half, and that's just maths. Go and do it.
Yeah.
And our newest sponsor,
$75 and you get free shipping too.
Free shipping. See, you don't even have to pay the shipping. It's the best. And our newest sponsor, An Honest Host. Do you have a website you want hosted? Honestly, not deceitfully. Go to An Honest Host and use the code Misfits for 10% off your order there. And they have domains and support and all kinds of fun stuff to help you with your website needs. And last but not least, our friend Matt DeMino has his Talkball Kickstarter out, which will be ending soon. And you can go and back that using our affiliate link that I will put in the chat at some point. And you can find on all our different video descriptions on YouTube and Instagram and things as well. So there we go. We did it. The business is out of the way. And now, Juicy, it's all about you. Tell us a brief history of your life, preferably less than the hour before we take audience questions.
Oh, shoot. That leaves my options open, and I'm so excited. So I was born in Western Massachusetts about 300 years ago, and I was turned into a vampire in, oh God, math is hard, 1726. No, yeah, hi, I am Juicy Garland. I am a Boston area drag queen. I am, I like to say, the first drag queen who really made her thing actual play. Other queens may have done an actual play here and there before I did, but I've been doing it for a while. I work really closely with the TTN Tabletop Tailspinners team. I'm part of All Our Faults, a Monster Hearts 2 actual play podcast. I also do stuff with the Delta Green Dead channels, the official Delta Green podcast. I have some exciting stuff in the pipeline. One just came out. Was it this week? That I'm really happy with. That was a really cool one by Caleb Stokes, who was the GM and author. I also do stuff with Roleplay Public Radio with Ross Payton. I also do stuff with Roll-D5 and a whole bunch of other networks. I'm just a bit of a slut. And I love playing games for fun and attention and friendship.
Hey, we don't slut shame going to multiple games. Do as many as you want. This is a shame-free space.
Good, because I'm a shame-free homosexual.
Oh, that's the merch. We'll get that on Dungeon Grandmaster as well as the shame-free homosexual t-shirt, and it's just a nice caricature of your face.
I love that.
So obviously, drag queen supreme in the Boston area. But what came first, the TTRPG or the drag?
Yes. There's my answer. No, I started playing Dungeons and Dragons, both of them, a long time ago, back when I was in college. My friend Sean, who's an incredible GM, who one day I will get in front of a camera, introduced me to D&D 3.5. And we were talking before we went live, but I played a half-elf bard who died in the first session when I got crisped by a dragon, and it taught me how much I love to die. I love character death, and I learned that day, I'll tell you.
Man, I feel that.
Yeah.
First time we played Shadow Dark in July. First round, my character went down.
Oh, geez. But yeah, I played D&D for a long while, and then I discovered like indie RPGs 2012-ish, a long time ago. The first one I ever really found and fell in love with was Monsters and Other Childish Things, which I recently did a mini series of, which I love. And that game is about kids whose best friends are monsters, and it runs on an interesting D6 dice pool system where you look for matches, and then what's called the height, which is like the total value of the match, and that's how you like contest a roll. And it's sort of got abstracted rules for standard slots for body parts that you use to fight with and also take your damage on for your kids. And your monsters have even more abstracted just pieces you come up with. So there are no real rules to what a monster can be. It's limitless according to your imagination. And they're there to be antagonists to the kids who are the PCs that are co-run by the kids and by the GM. It's a really cool game, and that taught me to love indie RPGs. And I started doing actual play after I started doing drag. Oh God, back in like 2017 is when I started doing drag and going out and having bad makeup, and then it got better during the pandemic. And then I started doing AP stuff when I realized I didn't quite fit into the Boston drag community in a way I had anticipated I might. And I took what I was doing over to actual play spaces because that's what I really wanted to be doing anyways.
This is awesome.
A swift character death followed by an immediate finding of the thing you were supposed to do seems like a good night out.
Yeah, there's a long time between those two. But yeah, no, I love doing drag, and my drag is just different from what's here in Boston. We have a lot of alternative queens, a lot of sort of gritty queens, and then a lot of 90s era style queens. And I do more of like a mid-century or historical look thing for myself, and I tend to have a different kind of aesthetic, an old Hollywood aesthetic, and that didn't really slot me into like a good niche here. So I made my own.
I mean, what better niche to fill in than on TTRPGs? I mean,
Oh yeah, like I was a fan and still am of Glass Cannon, and they've really showed me what was sort of possible with the art form as performance. And I really wanted to be able to do actual play and thought my drag would be an asset because it made me different. And initially it wasn't. Initially, I think I confused people because I didn't have an established position in the actual play space. And there were no other drag queens consistently trying to do this stuff. So I didn't get a lot of, I think, warm reception for a while, but I ended up doing some better and better like one shots in small series for a bit. And then I ended up doing a Star Trek 2D20 game with GM Mistress Winter, who's the GM we have for All Our Faults. And she and I connected really well. And then we ended up playing a Monster Hearts one shot where I had never played Monster Hearts before, where she was the GM. And a lot of the cast of All Our Faults and Emma, who runs and created TTN, were in that cast, and we all really liked each other, wanted to do more of this, and that's how we ended up with All Our Faults. And that's sort of how my presence in the actual play space took off. And I have to thank Johnny from Talking XP, because my first PAX Unplugged, he told me I had to get onto threads to make connections in the space to really get better and better opportunities. And he was right. And when I went to PAX Unplugged post-pandemic, probably maybe 22, I jumped onto threads because Johnny made me. And I really found a space and was able to do more and more cool stuff. And I really like the actual play performances I get to do now.
have you taken your skills behind the screen? like behind being a GM yet?
Oh yeah. So
What was,
I
like,
have
what was that moment like?
yeah, so I actually had never really GM'd more than once or twice before I jumped in and did a one shot during an October series that was a bunch of different games with Nathan Blades. Um, and I ran Delta Green, which is my favorite system. I created a scenario for that and ran it, never having really GM'd much before,
Mhm.
and really enjoyed the experience and the challenge of trying to figure out how to manage the pacing and interact with players and create a performance, all while also having fun playing a game. And I have since then done more and more GMing. I've GM'd for a bunch of different networks here and there. I did a 10 part miniseries with Monsters and Other Childish Things with TTN earlier this year that I really loved. And I want to do more. And I have my own personal plans for some long form stuff I want to lead.
Do you have a preference? Do you prefer to be behind the scenes, or do you actually like to be the performative player?
I like both because there's a I like the performance of being the GM and I like the challenge of managing pacing and giving everyone a spotlight, but also driving a narrative while not railroading at the same time. There's a really delicate, fine balance in being the GM as a performer. But I also like just being able to really focus and hone in on a single character. And I think the mood shifts in what I want to do from time to time. And really, I want to be able to do both.
No, that's fair. Alex, you got a question?
Oh, I was listening. I was I was locked in. Um, no, it's being a GM is a very also you can sometimes get in your head a little bit too much and sort of being
Yeah.
that cerebral space. It's like I really hope everyone's having a good time above the table, whilst also like, wait, I'm supposed to be an orc that has a Cockney accent and I don't know what I'm doing. Um, but
Yes.
may be taken from real life experience um of those unknown, but do you find like being in an artistic space, both performance wise in ttrpgs and in drag, that they sort of feed into each other and you can develop skills in both
Oh, y
simultaneously?
yeah, I mean, I did a lot of theater in college. I've always been some form of a performer, and when I started doing D&D and, like, getting into tabletop role-playing games, I really found myself loving creating characters and digging into who they were and really enjoying, like, role play, but also decision making and combat from a character perspective. That continued for a long time, but I left college and my own professional career kind of prevented me from being able to do a lot of creative work. And I craved it so desperately. And I found drag as an outlet for my creativity, which was like in drag, you create a character. You have to think about how you present yourself in a way that is recognizably uh, an individual. And my own experience in acting and also in tabletop games, I think informed the way I make choices about character and how I think about character, which then when I started taking my drag to AP, I made very conscious decisions about what I would do with my drag in this space because I don't usually, and it's very rare when I do cosplay in drag as my character. And part of it is because I don't want cosplay to be like a performing crutch. So I do when I do drag in AP, which is less and less these days because it takes so much time. Um, I I do my persona as a drag figure, and I do the character I am playing, and it allows me to sort of take a step back and examine both how I'm presenting myself as a performer as the player, but also as a performer as the character.
Mhm.
And that and I think it's important to recognize that when you're doing AP, you are projecting a version of yourself as the player. And a lot of people I find forget that when they're being themselves, they're also still being performers. And you can see that in the way different people do actual play. And when they thrive in what I would say are like the performance moments in roleplay as character. And then sometimes there's a lull when they're being themselves because they kind of turn off. And I try to avoid doing that. And the drag helps me avoid doing that.
Ah. So do you find it's harder then when you're not in drag doing RP to get into that headspace of like, this character is me if we'd gone this way, or this character is me as with like this dial turned up to like 100?
Not so much that it makes it harder. If anything, I think it gets me, if I'm doing drag for AP, I get into a more performative, almost plastic headspace where I can switch between player and character more quickly because the player persona is more of a character than myself. So I'm heightened all the time and flipping between two different characters rather than being myself as a character, which is sort of a weird meta thought process, and then the actual PC.
Wow, you've like incepted yourself on a character level. That's
A little bit, it
insane.
helped. Yeah,
That's a
it's
skill.
like, well, it's like how in like stagecraft, how actors like grab onto a certain prop that they latch onto to get themselves into character more readily, and that helps them leave the character behind. It's that sort of tangible, like physical way to transform the way I'm thinking about how I'm presenting myself in order to facilitate that.
I definitely agree. I mean, I have no like formal acting experience, but whenever I do any sort of character in a short or long form campaign, it's like with Night of the Worm on Misfits at the moment, my character Dr. Tamsin Newman, I wear like a spider a necklace with a spider on it to represent like the sort of moon she was changed under as a werewolf and like technology. So every time I have to think, I like touch that necklace. You can see it on stream, and I'm like, what would my
Heck
character
yeah.
do at this moment? And that sort of if I'm like disassociating out of like sitting in my room, I'm like, that brings me back and grounds me into the space.
Yeah, it helps bring a tangible physicality to the character you're portraying, and that helps it come to the front of your mind to inhabit that character to do role play.
I have yet to incorporate that skill myself.
Right, this is it, Chuck. You need to get some props of Power Rangers. You have to get something.
I suggest a fun hat.
Yeah, well, Power Rangers helmets, but then that would be hard to see him like
Right, yeah.
being everyone. But
Yeah, I'm running the game. I got to be everybody. A man of many hats.
That could be a bit. If you just have like shelves of hats for planned characters, and then every time you switch, you put on the appropriate hat.
Here's my Zordon hat. Here's my Alpha hat. Here's my Zed hat.
I actually kind of love that as a concept.
just for every character, there's like 20 NPCs. They all have different hats, and it just becomes like a pile of hats off of stream that just get out of control.
And then like
I got one in each hand every time.
Yeah, and you can keep a neutral one for all the NPCs that don't matter. So then the players don't like latch on to them unless they're just taking joy, and then you have to find a new hat. But like then you can signal this character important. This one, it's fine. It's a data dump.
But then you're just Pavloving players into knowing that NPC is the one they should adopt and take with them.
And then you mess with them. Then you play with the meta once they get used to it to keep them on their toes.
This is Boblin the Goblin.
What a perfect name. That's a perfect character name. Boblin the Goblin.
Yeah, why not? Goodness. All right. So, man, you've done all these actual plays. What has been like a big like key takeaway that you can give to someone who's just stepping foot into it? Aside from what we just mentioned about the hat, having the physical object, is there anything else that you might be able to offer to someone who's just stepping into this world?
Just fucking do it and make mistakes. Everyone starts off as garbage. You're going to start as garbage. No one's perfect. Embrace the chaos and the failure. Learn from it. Enjoy it. Thrive on it. Like, I love making a fool of myself. And I do it repeatedly every day. And I do it on purpose because I think there's a certain kind of fearlessness where if you want to do actual play, you want to do gaming as a performance, you have to be mindful of the audience. You have to make some mistakes and get used to the feeling of performativity in play. Not everyone comes to it naturally. It is a learned skill. I think, and the only way to learn it is to do it, and that's it. And it's about like seeking out opportunities wherever you can. Like there are often open casting calls for people who don't have a lot of experience. As long as you have a reasonably decent mic, you'll be able to find a table to play on to get in front of your webcam and just do it. But there's no other way to get there. You just have to kind of walk through a little muck for a bit and learn some skills and accept that you're not going to be as idealized a performer as you wish you were, and you never will be. And it's okay. It's okay to flop sometimes. It's inevitable. Like, I think about how stand-up comedians often face a bad house. They just bomb. The best comedians on the planet bomb routinely. And it's about being able to look at that in the face and keep going and do your bit and find joy in it regardless, because we're all here to have fun. Um, and I think maybe the only other piece of advice I'd have is that actual play is performance, right? It is a form of theater, or like craft, and you have to be able to recognize and sort of intuit that what you're doing is not just playing a game at home, because that's how a lot of bad content gets made, right? And if we're here to do actual play, we all want to make good content.
Right.
You also have to be mindful of the fact that you're doing this for an audience, and that affects your performance, whether or not you want it to.
No. So you heard it here. Just do it. Jump in. Just get into it.
Yeah, really, you just got to get your hands dirty.
Yeah.
Not sponsored by Nike, but they were right. Just do it, man. Swoosh.
Mhm,
Like,
mhm.
everyone's
Only
terrible,
this
and I
comes with
think
less child labor.
we hope everyone does seem to be of age in our game, so that's good. But we always live in hope. And I think a lot of people nowadays, like, I don't know if it's a millennial thing because I'm a millennial as well, and like Chuck is and stuff. It's just like, I think we lived through the cringe era, and a lot of people aren't willing to embrace being cringe.
Mhm.
Whereas, like, I'm just like, I'll be cringe all day, every day. Like, I'll
Oh yeah,
dab all the time. I was
I'm
there.
reflexively cringe. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
Just
you do
ask
it? Do you
my
do it as
daughter.
like instead of falling and putting your hands out, you're like, no, cringe reflex.
100%. That, like I said, I make a fool of myself repeatedly every day on purpose. That is funny, but it's not a joke. That's my reality. Like, I even in like day job stuff, I always try to put myself out there and contribute something. And it's not always a good idea, but at least I'm getting my idea out there, and then we can talk about it.
And it'll make people more comfortable if they feel they can't share their ideas anyway. Like if you bomb and
Exactly.
someone sees it and they're like, oh, they did it anyway, and they kept going, just keep going.
Yeah. And
Do
that's
it.
how you get better.
Mm-mm.
Whereas Chuck is perfect in every way as a DM, and we all know
Oh
it.
God, no.
Fucking Mary Poppins over here.
Fuck
Jeez.
no. If you saw Sunday, no.
We all saw Sunday. It's available on Twitch now. Guardians of the Great Episode 7. Go watch it.
Ooh wee.
Yeah, you get to see me get broken like 3 or 4 times.
Love it.
He's like, we're going to have a serious tone for this episode. And everyone was like, how about we're just the Looney Tunes for 3 hours?
It seriously was.
Mhm.
It seriously was. Yeah. I had my head in my hands like multiple times, just like, well, why? What's happening? What is happening?
And folks, it's always fun to watch someone have a breakdown on stream mid game. So go and watch it for good content.
It's the high drama we all crave and love.
Yeah, that's fine. It's fine. I tried to make him afraid of spiders. Nah, they just turned that shit around on me.
Have you ever seen Arachnophobia? That movie is hilarious.
Yeah, with,
Eight-legged freaks.
John Goodman.
Yes, I haven't seen it in a long time, not since I was a kid. But yes, that movie, very silly. They're just tarantulas, man.
Yeah, it's just yeah. I'm guessing Alex, you don't know what we're talking about.
I know what arachnophobia is. You're not
Okay.
that much older than me, Chuck.
Hey,
But-
no, you went 8-legged freaks. What was I supposed to know?
I don't know. You're not in Freedom Land. I don't know what movies you get over there on your
Yeah.
island.
Yeah.
Only those that the king and queen approve, obviously, darling.
Well, that was true under Thatcher because they were the video nasties.
Oh, we don't. Let's not bring her into this. We don't want Thatcher anywhere near our TTRPGs. We need to
Only
keep
to
that.
drag her through more of hell.
Only to
Her and
make
Nancy
the
Reagan.
villain a cringe NPC Margaret Thatcher, and you just drag her through the mud and divine smite her 50 times, and then it's okay.
I'm Juicy Garland, and I endorse this message.
You heard
I'm
it
gonna
here.
clip that. I'm gonna clip that with you freeze frame and just the official like election thing underneath it.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. I'm good with that. I don't care if you're not juicy. I'm good with that.
It's too late now. You said you'd do this.
Goodness. So have you? So one of the things that you mentioned is that you were introduced very early on to character death,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
How has that affected you as not only a player but as a GM? When you or your players have encountered death, like how have you handled that in a better way?
Yeah, I just let them know up front when character death is possible, that it is possible and sometimes likely. Especially with Delta Green, which I like to run a lot. Usually, if I'm running a game, it's Delta Green.
Mhm.
Um, I remember I did a one shot with TTN where I told them character death was likely, and then I think all but one of them died at the end. And it's easier to do that with one shots, right? Because everyone expects that they're never going to play this character again, so they're a little bit more free with the risky choices that get them killed.
Right.
Long form stuff I have not run, at least for performance outside of my 10-part series, and that there like character death wasn't likely, so there was low risk. But if it had happened, I would have followed through on it because the stakes need to be real. At a home game, there's more negotiation there where maybe character death is something we can work around. But when we're doing this as performance for an audience, I really believe that stakes need to be real. And that includes incorporating character death or like permanent character harm. That's why I like responsible sand systems like Delta Greens, which takes the core mechanic in Call of Cthulhu and makes it much more human and realistic. I don't know if either of you is familiar with Delta Green, but in Call of Cthulhu, you do a sand roll. If you fail, sometimes if you succeed, you take sanity damage, and then your sanity pool goes down, and there are consequences for how far it goes down in one go. Same system virtually for Delta Green, because originally Delta Green was sort of a module for Call of Cthulhu, but under the rules for the game in and of itself, there are two factors that are different. One is motivations. So as you take sand damage, you can get disorders when you cross what are called breaking points. And your motivations are the things you document that inform who your character is, and they define what gets your character out of bed in the morning to do this horrible stuff, right? Like, why do they still exist? Why do they persevere? As you gain disorders, you erase a motivation and replace it with a disorder. So
Mm.
as you weaken your sanity, you end up replacing your own identity and the things that drive you and isolating yourself as a human person as the character, right? But in addition to that, my favorite piece, the thing I think is most important for giving the sanity mechanic nuance and humanity, is the bond system. So the bond system is defined by your career. There aren't classes, you just take on careers, and that affects what skills you get and the number of bonds you have. And your bonds are the most important relationships that buoy your sanity. So it's not just like my best friend, but it's my best friend, comma, the person who I lean on when things get rough so I don't jump off a bridge, right? And when you take sanity damage, you can choose to project some of that damage onto your bonds. So as you take sanity damage, you can reduce the harm to yourself by hurting your relationships with the most important people and things in your life. And over time that isolates you. And it can like limit your empathy as a character. So then these all interplay really dramatically with character. Like motivations really don't have a mechanical feature to them, but they deeply inform character as character evolves, as exposure to trauma sort of accrues over time, right? And with your bonds, you may project onto a bond with your mother, right? Because you don't want to take that chunk of sanity damage that's going to give you temporary insanity and cause you to lash out or trigger a disorder. But that means that after the mission's over, when you go home, how is your relationship with your mother going to suffer? And you are required to face those consequences between missions.
Oh, I'm into that.
And like
That's
those
some messed up.
stakes, it's so good. And like those stakes are so important for making the game feel serious and real and have an impact. And I think Delta Green, more than any other game that I have played, has really made me empathize with my own characters more than any other, but also it really makes me consider the character choices I make, both in like how I choose to expose myself to trauma, like violence, helplessness, and the unnatural, um, but also like how they act as a human person, and that helps inform both home play and actual play.
think also a little bit of bleed into real life too. I know I've played a lot of characters. The last D&D in a castle I went to, I played a lawful good cleric who was all about community and like
Mhm.
building bridges, even when people obviously didn't want that to happen in the
Yeah.
party. And I was just like, wow, I have this, like, even on bad days, like I have this capability within me. And then a different character, a different rogue that I play is very chaotic and just not processing trauma well. And it's having
Mhm.
panic attacks and injuring people in their sleep. And it's just like, oh, this is me if I went down a different way. And we should maybe avoid this and not do this. Because I think talking about like with character bleed, do you when you like finish a session of like an emotionally fraught game, which it sounds like it could very well be with Delta Green with the sort of bonding
Mhm.
system, do you ever feel that bleeds into your real life where you have to sort of step away for a moment and just sort of process it and then let it go? Or is it more that you just leave that at the table when you're done?
It happens, but rarely,
Mm.
particularly with all our faults. And we actually just released our season finale for our first major arc this week. And Michael is a character who will live with me forever. Um, but there were some moments in that game that got real dark and real rough for Michael and therefore me. And the way we play Monster Hearts in all our faults really requires a lot of trust at the table because we go to some pretty intense and dark places with each other. We fight with each other pretty vociferously. We harm each other. We also like engage in sexual content when the story requires it, right? And we treat it honestly. We don't sort of fade away from it immediately. Uh, that stuff can bleed, but that's why, especially in games that are pretty serious where you tackle those issues, aftercare is so critical. And we will pause and have conversations to make sure everyone's okay after a particularly rough like session for AOF. And I have had some moments where I needed to just sit there for a minute and really think about what I just did to myself and my friends.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And speaking of like the aftercare, when you're getting ready for games that you know are going to be very very intense, what kind of safety tools do y'all use, or do you kind of gravitate towards?
Yeah, it depends on who I'm playing with oh god, I forget the name of it. But the system I think I like the most is I think of it as like the VCR system where it's like can we fast forward, can we stop, can we rewind and
Hmm.
rewrite and make an edit to what was just said? Can we just flat out stop if we need to? Those kinds of things give us certain kind of plasticity where we may hit near a red line and we don't want to halt everything, so we just jump ahead, right? Or maybe we do need to stop and have a conversation about what just happened at the table because maybe we went a little further than we should have. Um, I think the important thing is less about the specific mechanic for a safety tool system. And what's more important is having enough trust at the table and openness that if you do go near or across red lines, everyone is comfortable saying what they need to, whether it's one to one on the side or directly, to make sure that they're taken care of and their needs are respected. And like upfront declarations of what our red lines are is really critical, especially in games like AOF. But also, if we find we've crossed a red line one of us didn't know we had, having the safety to also be able to say something is really critical. And safety tools are not optional.
And trust among players is also sounds like a big one. Like
Oh, it's
you
huge.
guys obviously trust
Yeah.
the players and the group that you're doing. So if someone did cross that line by accident, it could be resolved in a healthy and
Yeah,
productive way rather than descending into a shouting
Yeah.
match of some description.
And like not every game needs to go there, but not every game also should go there. And it's also about having good concrete session zeros, sometimes plural. That was on purpose, in order to really clarify like what is the tone we're going to have and where are some of the limits that we're setting just a priori, and then what are people's limitations or needs that we should be aware of, and those things should be openly and healthily discussed, especially if you're going to go or intend to go to darker places, particularly in horror gaming.
yeah, for sure. I know here at the Misfits we have a penchant for the deck of player safety,
Yeah.
and it's a good. That's been we've had really good luck using that one, and or good feedback from players as well because it's an anonymous thing, you know.
Yep.
And there's so many hot button topics inside the deck itself, and also the option to add whatever may not be covered. And that's just
Yeah.
something that for someone like if you're at a convention and you don't know anybody at the table, you may not feel comfortable speaking what what
Mm-hmm.
your line is.
Oh yeah,
Does
absolutely.
that give you that opportunity to like, here's my card, here's my veil, here's my red line right over here, and no one's going to know what it is you put.
Yeah, and it's also I think important to be able to read a room and understand the kind of table you're at. Like there's a
Mhm.
huge difference between being at a table full of trust where I know everyone well when I'm getting to get to like play All Our Faults, which has the goal of really driving the story through character choices and getting feral and messy because that's what Monster Hearts asks you to do, and being unafraid to tackle those things. Like that is almost carte blanche to virtually do anything with very few exceptions, right?
Mhm.
But we've set that expectation. Whereas, like, if I'm at a convention and I'm testing out a new system that I'm curious about, like, I'm gonna self edit because I don't know these complete strangers,
Right.
right? And I don't know where their red lines and limits are, even if there's a form that everyone gets to use to declare it. Like, there's still a responsibility, I think, for everyone at the table to learn how to read the room a bit.
No, it's totally
Yeah.
fair. Totally very reasonable expectation there.
Yeah.
If you're
Yeah.
going to be a TM, you got to be able to read your table.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I will say it till the day I die. If you play TTRPGs, number one, you're hot and stunning and beautiful, and I love you already. But number two, you have to have communication and empathy, and those skills will develop, and you will be able to read a room if you play any sort of TTRPG successfully. And if you don't, you'll get kicked out and you'll learn from your mistakes and either go back or never
Mhm.
play them again. And I just
Yeah.
think, yeah, it's just a good method of developing those skills. I'd love it to be taught in schools for kids, but there's no way that's ever going to happen. It would just be so good.
After school clubs.
After
Yeah,
school.
some schools do, but it's not super common. Yeah.
Mm. Well, I know Chuck in your home game with Shadow Dark as well with James, also on the Tabletop Misfits. James, you play with like some kids in that game as well, and you all sort of play
My daughter
together.
and his son and
Yeah.
our friend's daughter, who's and they're like, my daughter's 11, James's son is 11. I think our friend's daughter is 14 or 15. So yeah, there's definitely lines that don't get crossed because of the players. And I know our last game, it was very emotional at the end.
Mhm.
My we were all going through essentially like memories of our backstories,
Mhm.
our character. Um, and it was my daughter's turn, and she ended up rolling where she had to remember a bad memory, and James had to come up with something on the fly.
Mhm.
Essentially, her initiation into her character's cult, where they forced her to murder a unicorn.
Oh, jeez.
No.
And
That's so cold.
he stopped right at the point where she was going to have to actually commit the act, but he let it up enough, like, you're in this cell, not a cell, but like you're in this room by yourself. Three cultists come in, and they're talking to you, and you have to, like, you're gonna get initiated with the old magic, and they bring in a unicorn, and it's like, you hand her a knife, and like, you know what to do, and then fade to black.
Mm.
Yeah,
Also,
exactly. Oh no, sorry, continue, please.
no, it's just apologies if I look distracted. My dog was just trying to eat my carpet, so
Oh,
I was just yelling at him. So that's why I was looking away.
That's
My
very
apologies.
valid. No, I was just going to say, and that's the way, like with Fade to Black and with about certain topics like that, you can have a multi-age table and it still work absolutely fine. You just need to make sure, again, check in afterwards, because I know there were probably some check-ins after that to make sure like everyone was okay. We're all friends
Mhm.
and family here, and it can
yeah.
work absolutely fine. But also, like you were saying before, like the pre-expectation of when you outline a game or are looking for casting, it's like this is going to be the tone of the game, this is what might
Mhm.
come up based on the game system. And I think if everyone just sort of knows that up front, you're sort of like pre-psyched and pre-prepared in your brain to be like,
Yeah.
this is a place it could go, so I'm going to be I'm going to be ready for it.
Mhm.
I'm gonna ask you one really good question. It's gonna really throw you off your game.
Yeah. Hit me.
I want your, either as a GM or as a player, your highest high and your lowest low.
Oh god. Okay. This is tough. Okay. So, my
What?
highest high is also probably my lowest low in a way. So All Our Faults. Um there no, there's one that's the lowest low, which is just the thing that made me feel the worst in any game I've ever played. was when so if you don't know, Michael, the character I have been playing for this first season, he is a vampire, and his maker is just a trash lord, just a monster, quite on the nose. But I really wanted to engage with like the ideas of like predation, both as a predator but also being prey. So I fully gave carte blanche to Winter to really just ruin me. And there was one scene where I went to go see my maker, and like Michael was so horribly brutalized the night he was made. And like going through that was just so harsh. And like me getting deep into character and really pushing myself to engage with and embrace the content we were making was tough. But I'm so glad I did. But that was one where there was a lot of character bleed and where I needed a little aftercare, which is rare for me. Um and then also in All Our Faults, about midway through the season, I had a sex scene with one of the other players at the table, and it's something I'm really proud of because we handled it, I think, really beautifully. We handled it very responsibly. We did go into detail, but it wasn't necessarily like pornographic or even particularly graphic. It was more aesthetic.
Mhm.
And it turned out so wonderfully. And I think that's rare for a sex scene, particularly between players, to even happen, let alone to happen in a way that is comfortable. And I've had a lot of really positive feedback about that moment, but I knew in the moment it was happening that we were doing something really cool. Uh, and it's something I'm really proud of being able to achieve because that's a very fine line to walk, and we managed it really well.
That's interesting. Okay. Okay.
I
That's
love
actually
that.
yeah, that's actually one moment where we used the safety tools, which in All Our Faults we don't have to do often because we just go to places. But we hadn't ever done a direct sex scene between players, and that meant that we kind of paused and checked in to make sure it was okay. And I'm glad we did, and that gave us the freedom to really take it naturally. Yeah, no, that's probably the highest high I've had as a player or GM because it's something I knew was really cool, and it's something since that I've remained really proud of.
Yeah, that would be definitely something to. That does sound like a very fine line to walk, and it's very very interesting that you're able to walk it as well as you did.
I had a really good scene partner. It's not all me. Like
Sure.
a lot of it was us feeding off of each other's energy and then figuring out kind of where I guess the vibe was lying, and it turned into it was less about like us each describing the act and then like moaning weirdly, and it turned into me describing what was happening as he sort of was reacting to me in small ways, but it really became a single narration, so it wasn't like a ping pong of like escalating sex
Mm.
weirdness. Um, but like I couldn't have had that without the right scene partner, and he was great.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Man, Alex, you got a good question yet?
No, that was just a really nice moment, and I'm still absorbing it. And I'm like, handled so gracefully.
Yeah.
Uh,
Wow.
yeah, it's and also again speaks to the levels of trust because like
Yeah.
obviously you need it.
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah.
shall
Yeah.
I?
It's
Shall I ask a mean question now? So I'll
yes.
ask. Chuck's asked the highest high and the lowest low, but it's like, have you ever encountered a situation where maybe a line was crossed and then there had to be a conflict to resolve that in a game? Or
Yes, actually, I
yeah.
messed up. Um, yeah,
Mm.
I messed up, and I got too far into enjoying telling the story and forgot about a player's red lines. And uh, I had crossed the line and didn't realize it. And then our producer pinged me on the side and was like, "Hey, stop the eye stuff." And I
Ah,
went, "Whoa, shit." And then, like, of course, I apologized to the player, on the side, and I just course corrected as best I could. And I found myself occasionally running against that red line and, like, every now and then in ways I didn't expect were the red line, because it's such a foreign thing to me to be like profoundly bothered by sort of eye damage is what I'm going to say. And it took me a little bit of correcting, but like that's why we have safety tools, is like you get into the moment and you kind of forget what is a challenge for some people, and then you obviously change course and fix it, and that's how you handle it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
The dog.
Yeah, I'm sorry. He's just really going at that carpet.
Oh, never be sorry. He's adorable.
Here, I
Go
can
and
pick
check
him
out
up. He
Juicy's
came over.
Instagram for pictures of the puppy.
Oh, live dog cam right now.
There we
Live
go.
dog cam.
Look at
Oh.
that boy.
He looks very confused. Why are you holding me in front of a
What-
screen?
What's his name so we can give him credit in the episode?
Nori,
Hi, Nori.
like the seaweed.
Yeah.
All right,
Now I can see
get
a
out of here.
coyote call. Yeah.
We have to put him down, otherwise the whole interview is going to be about Nori.
Well, I'd rather not put him down. I'll just put him on the ground.
Put him away from the garden.
Wow. Hey, yeah.
Don't you just hate
Poor
it when your
choice of
carpet
words
gets
there.
eaten? Don't you just hate it when your carpet gets eaten and you're not
Nori, they
appreciating
told
it?
me to murder you, but I won't do it.
Not how dare you?
Is that not how you
Easy.
say it on your side of the pond? Put a dog down?
I mean, I hope I never have to say it, but I thought that was a universal thing. I don't think that's a British thing.
No,
You're making it sound like
we say that. I didn't. Okay.
You're making it sound like British people coin that phrase and we love putting dogs down. Please, England isn't like this. Okay.
No.
We love
It
animals.
was more that I didn't know if you used that turn of phrase to mean kill your dog. Okay, there we go.
How'd we go to
Talk
killing
about-
dogs?
Talk about a red line.
lights.
Talk about red lines. I've actually found a lot of people in game would rather like not talk about stuff happening to animals and would rather talk about bad stuff happening to people. all day,
Oh,
every
yeah,
day.
that's a common red line. Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
animals are definitely like the common red line.
Yeah.
Oh, because
Do anything to me. Don't
That
hurt
and
the
harm to
dog.
children.
Yes.
Harm to children, harm to animals. Often SA is another one, which I
Yeah.
totally understand. Yeah.
So I've got to ask though.
Yeah.
This is not necessarily RPG related. What was the drive? What was the inspiration for the Juicy Garland character?
Yeah, so I really struggled finding a drag name. I knew I wanted to center it like old Hollywood to mid-century or like wartime era, mostly because I love the idea of blowing up Nazis. And I was almost had a gobbler, but that was too deep a cut. Just not everyone's seen that play. Had a gobbler. So I instead was like, what's another pun name that I love? And I went through a bunch of like, I think Cape Cod was another one that I thought of, but I threw that one in the trash. But then I was like, I love Judy Garland, and I was like, Judy Garland's a good place to start. Where can I make a pun? And then I realized Juicy Garland. That's a good one. I'm proud of that moment.
Yeah. No, that's great.
You definitely, out of those ones you said, pick the right one. You definitely
Had a
picked the right
Gobbler
one.
is really funny if you read books.
I don't read.
That's one for the intellectuals. That's one for the intellectuals in the back.
Yeah, it was too deep. And I was like, no one's gonna laugh at that but me, which is really the core of most of my performance. Is I'm doing it for me, and if the audience is along for the ride, good for them.
I mean, if you're not entertained, like who else is gonna be? You gotta be entertained. Chuck, what would your drag name be?
My drag name? Oh God, I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're gonna put me on the spot. I hadn't even thought about something like that. Come back.
Would you
later.
have a pun name or like a fantasy like fancy name?
Oh, it'd be
Would you
pun.
like,
It'd be
it
pun
would be a
all
pun.
the way.
Okay.
I mean,
Would it
Chuck.
be
Chuck, you could have some good ones with Chuck, surely.
I wouldn't want to use Chuck though.
Oh, you won't use it.
Yeah. So
We'll
would you?
revisit.
Was it like a
Are we
food related
workshopping my
pun?
drag name now?
Yes.
Is that what this is now? I'm okay with this.
$2 Chuck. There you go.
Too much.
Wow.
But the
that's a great
twist
one.
is you wear 2 sets of antlers. No wig.
Oh,
Okay. I'm with
No
it.
one's gonna get it, and it's fine.
no one has to.
You say that made me just immediately go to Tu Wong Fu.
I love that.
Oh,
Hell yeah.
love that film. So
Wow.
good.
I love that came out fully on its own at the same time effectively as Priscilla, Queen of the Desert.
Did
Like
it? Was it
they
this?
they they
Shit.
released within a year of each other, if I remember correctly.
Hmm.
And they were both in
Wow.
production at the same time, so it's not like the idea was stolen. There was just something in the air. And Australia and the US just did their own drag movies.
Also, yeah, but not sponsored. Please go and watch Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, and Tu Wong Fu. They're
Yes.
both excellent
Yes,
and
they are.
iconic and great. Um,
Tu Wong Fu just had a really interesting cast.
Yeah, well, both movies do, but yeah, like
I don't know
just
Priscilla,
Wesley
but
Snipes as a drag queen is so fascinating because Wesley Snipes as a public figure is so concerned with like his masculinity
mhm,
and his
yeah.
toughness, and he's also apparently, from the things I've heard and read, a notorious asshole. So him
yes.
in drag is just so fascinating because he's so warm and likable in that movie, and it's so out of step with his persona, and
I
I
mean,
Well,
find that interesting.
John Leguizamo, Patrick Swayze. I mean, that's a cast right there. And then Priscilla, Queen of
yes.
the Desert. You have Hugo Weaving from the fucking Matrix and Lord of the Rings, which is wild.
Uh-huh.
You've got Terrence Stamp, and then you have Guy Pearce, who is probably the most more expected one of that cast. But
Oh
like,
god, it's so good.
so excellent. Also, Chuck,
I
did you say you hadn't seen Priscilla, Queen of the Desert by the
I
way?
have not.
Oh,
Please,
you should.
high
S it
recommend.
it's
Do you like?
basically the same movie as To Wong Fu, but Australian.
Oh,
So, like, if I were to ever try to explain the differences to someone between Australian and American culture, I just show them those 2 movies.
oh, okay.
Such a good
Alright,
point.
I can dig it. I mean, Patrick Swayze was also like the male figure of the era too. I mean,
Yeah, and a huge surprise for To Wong Fu, and
right.
his performance is incredible as Vita. Like, I'm obsessed with Patrick Swayze in that movie, and I mean John Leguizamo too. Really, like if commitment to the bit is my religion, John Leguizamo as is it Cheetah, just is like a saint. Just there's so much commitment to the bit there, and like so he was just so devoted to giving the most honest like performance possible. It's
Mhm.
wild. It shocked me when I found out he was straight.
Yeah, I mean, but he always has a penchant for playing those kind of wacky characters. But
Yeah,
with Swayze, immediately you think, at least for me personally, it's Roadhouse, it's
Dirty Dancing because my
Dirty
mom
Dancing.
loved it. Yeah.
It's those kind of movies, and then
Ghost.
Wong Fu,
Yeah.
Ghost, yeah,
But
and then you got
it's
Tu Wong Fu, and you're like, oh, whoa, range.
I
Mhm.
just I just love it when like the characters people we traditionally think of as mask play like softer roles because it's like such a departure, and I think it's just so good.
It's great.
It's
Yeah,
just
and, like,
great.
it's rare because it challenges the public persona they create to sell themselves.
Hmm.
So I find it interesting to see who's secure enough in their career to be willing to do that.
I also like it when people are like feel safe enough. I'll bring it back to TTRPGs just for a hot second because I'm
Yeah.
enjoying the movie discussion. But when people feel like they can try new things at the table that they don't necessarily identify themselves
Hmm.
as.
Yeah.
Um, like for myself, just because I've been playing recently, like a different World of Darkness campaign, I've been playing a Bruja vampire who is a gay man. And I said to my DM, I was like, is it okay that I'm going into this space? Because I don't want to like infiltrate on something that I don't have any lived experience of.
Mhm.
And like he was turned in like the late 80s. So he grew up with like the Thatcher era and was in the military. And I wanted him to be a disabled veteran. So he has one leg missing.
Oh, wow,
And I was like,
okay.
and so like not being able to be like don't ask, don't tell in the military in this country. And I was like, is this something I'm allowed to do? And he's like, I know you well enough that you have enough empathy and wisdom to be like to handle this with respect and to not cross a
Mhm.
line. And he gave me that trust, and I was like, I'm gonna run with it. And so far it's been such like an amazing experience to play a man. It's weirdly freeing playing a man. I like it.
I like that. Yeah, it's funny. I had a converse experience early when I started doing actual play, very early before I really did anything real. I started like a limited series with some friends, and they told me when I said I wanted to play a female character that I couldn't when I was already a drag queen because apparently, and I'm gonna tell myself I don't really listen to Critical Role. But apparently there was a mask presenting actor who tried doing a femme character and it didn't work well at some point. least that's what they said. And I was very confused that uh,
Uh,
they didn't think a mask, pseudo mask presenting person could play a woman.
I have a feeling they're referring to Sam Riegel playing Veth in The Mighty Nine, who is a female character. He had trouble with the voice at first, but then I think he
Uh-huh.
toned it back, so it was more like his voice, and then it started going really well. But
Oh, good.
I
Okay.
mean, yeah, it was
Huh.
fine. People have played different like genders and I think in like
Yeah.
Critical Role and different things before. I mean, Chuck, have you ever
Interesting.
played a character that's not like what you identify as personally, or
I haven't yet. I've thought about it. I haven't had the chutzpah to do it myself just yet.
you should do it.
Working on it. Working on it.
All right,
I know.
and I'm
I
gonna
have
hop
some
off
good
camera for like 3 seconds to kick this dog out of this room because he will not stop.
This is
I have to do
valid.
the same thing.
I'll
Um,
I'll be here. You go. Okay, they're gonna go and deal with dogs. I will be here.
yeah, I'll be right back.
I'm so sorry. He just would not stop. He's so obsessed with this carpet. I think it's a sign he wants to go pee, and he's just being mischievous
I'll
in
be right
order
back.
to
Chuck
tell me.
Chuck also has to go.
Amazing. All right, let's vamp. What questions you got? What thoughts do you have?
What questions do I have? How long does it take you to get into drag? Because I'm always curious how long it takes people.
Between an hour and a half and 2 hours, depending on how I'm doing that day and whether or not I'm mad at my lips.
I've heard lips and
Some
eyebrows can be a struggle.
brows, I learned that they can be cousins early on. They don't have to be twins.
They don't
Um
have to. Yeah, they can be distant. They can be second cousins even. They can be.
Oh, yeah, and, like, my eyelids droop unevenly, so I have to correct so much anyways to put lashes on, and I put on big lashes to sort of
Mhm,
mask that it's a little uneven. But, like, the lip, because I wear a very red cream lipstick, has to be perfect. And if it's not
mhm.
perfect, it looks terrible. So I will spend most time actually outlining and perfecting the shape of the lip and filling it in and having to go in and correct the edges to make them perfect, or I will lose my mind.
Exceptional.
Yeah. They and because I find the sluttiest, reddest lipstick I can. Um, hashtag not sponsored, but I'm obsessed with Besame. They have just historical repro makeup, and their lipstick lines come from every decade throughout the 20th century. And they have a 1950s era one they call Red Hot that is like a Hollywood film red, so it's actually a little orange. And in Technicolor,
Mhm,
orange would pop red because there'd be a color shift in the colorization process. So they did a repro that's lightly based off of the tone Marilyn Monroe would wear. And I
okay.
do find that it is much redder and more pleasing in photographs. And it looks redder than in photographs than it does in the real world. But it's just such a perfect lipstick, and I'm obsessed with it, and that's all I use. Unless
I
there's
know.
like a real weird occasion where I need a black or something.
I know you said previously you don't really like cosplay and drag, but I think you'd fucking rock it. I know there's pictures on your Instagram of you as your Nosferatu from World of Darkness, though, which is nasty in the best way possible.
I I love doing that character. I that character just I love playing just period. But also I really love that look because I love the weird like aesthetic conflict of the horrible Nosferatu face with me in a bald cap and like the two fangs in front. And then literally I'm wearing a Charles James reproduction gown I made that like if you're unfamiliar, Charles James is the only American couturier that we've ever had, and he was a genius. And I found a way to reproduce this line of gowns he did called La Sirène. And it requires this really precise like pleating in the front all the way down to get a certain kind of effect. And while the gown itself has a beautiful silhouette that is very strong, it has no understructure. There's no boning in it whatsoever. It's all drape.
So you're just hoping everything stays in the right place.
No, that's the thing is that the way the dress is designed, everything must stay in place. It doesn't change. So it like falls in a way that is so pleasing and just complimentary. So like combining the like wretched aesthetic of a Nosferatu just kind of all over the place in like effectively a handmade couture gown I put together, is just such a funny thing to me that it tickles me pink.
Just because you look like a Nosferatu doesn't mean you can't wear nice clothes. We don't get a choice who our
Oh, yeah.
sires are in World of Darkness sometimes, and sometimes you look crazy and you want to look nice. So just
Yes,
like
and
in
I
the
I love
Substance,
it.
where at the end she tries to do her makeup and she puts the gown
Oh,
on, you know?
Monster Eliza Sue, what an icon. I just watched that on a big screen recently.
Oh,
I did an art house horror film course here in Boston,
oh,
and it ended with The Substance, and it was so nice to see it on a big screen again.
I love it so much. Also,
Yeah.
we're going into audience question time. So if you have any
Ooh.
questions for Juicy, put them in the chat. But if not, me and Chuck are just going to ask. Chuck, ask a cool. I asked about cool outfits and drag. You ask a question.
Actually, you know what? I got a better idea. Juicy,
What?
roll me a d20.
Ah, shit. Hold on. I gotcha.
Juicy,
I
Uh,
asked if you had one.
10.
down
Okay.
the middle.
What's your favorite spell?
Oh, Hunger of Hadar.
Okay. Why?
Because it does a lot of damage and it's deeply uncomfortable, and I get to really lean into how gross it is and just give really, really self-indulgent descriptions as I narrate the spell, as the like tongues of like black ichor just come up and
I
like
can't imagine
writhe about.
where this is going.
Yeah, yeah, Hunger of Hadar. I think I have to choose that one.
Wait, Chuck, I have to pause. Where did you think that was going?
Exactly where it went.
Okay. Not a different direct. That's fine. We'll move on. So,
Tentacle porn.
wait,
The answer is tentacle porn. I
That's
that's
make
the
exactly
people
where it went.
answer.
uncomfortable
There
by
it is.
evoking tentacle porn. Yes, correct.
Exactly
Oh,
where Juicy took it.
Yeah.
that's
That's
where
why
you.
I said what I said.
Sometimes the front door is the right door.
So,
Sorry, that
yeah.
one got me. So, favorite spell, favorite class, or what? Actually, what class do you think you in real life are? If you were to be in D&D, you're just
Oh god. Uh if I'm a real class, god, this is such a psychoanalysis question. And I'm gonna try to answer it honestly, but now I have this like meta looping going on in my brain. Like, what do I want to say? Sorcerer. I think sorcerer or warlock. I'd sell my soul for power.
you could be Sorlock, you could multi-class.
Yeah, but why bother?
I just
Like,
want to
they're
pick what.
both good on their own. I don't know that those are two great tastes that taste great together.
Well, it's like, do you want to be a nepo baby or do you want to sign a contract?
Yes. I want
So,
both.
have both. You have both. Chuck, what are
Um,
you
yeah.
Monk.
in real? That's
Maybe
very
a
true.
warlock. I'd probably go for a warlock and a monk. Just
Ooh.
because
You'd sell your soul to?
oh yeah.
Okay, which patron do you think you'd sell your soul to?
Oh fuck. I really have no idea. Uh, I think the horniest one probably.
The Archfey?
Oh yeah, yeah,
Or
yeah,
the
yeah.
demon?
Yes.
Yeah. For me, it's either the Archfey or the like horrible Lovecraftian one. I forget what it's called. Not the stars one, but there's like the deep, I think it is.
Mm,
I
It's
think it is the
basically
deep. Yeah,
Cthulhu. Yeah.
yeah.
yeah. I mean, if there's an eldritch horror to sell my soul to, I'd probably do that. Honestly.
Yeah, that sounds more sensible than a demon slash devil or the Fae, because the Fae will just find a way to fuck you over and ruin your life.
Yes.
Devils and demons are just gonna want your soul to torture you and like win more souls for their armies in hell. I feel like a Lovecraftian unnatural horror just kind of wants you to satisfy its hunger for power by giving you power, and I can get along for that ride. I've been in capitalism.
I mean, it depends because some of those, if you really get into some of that Lovecraftian horror, if they wake up, the world's over.
Yeah, but if they wake up and they take you along for the ride, the rest of the world is over, and you get to be king of the ashes.
No, but I mean, I think in the mythos, for the Cthulhu mythos, the world that you live in is his dream. So if
Oh
he
yeah,
wakes up,
oh yeah, with
the
Cthulhu, yeah,
existence is over.
yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, but if they exist, it's all over. But if they wake up and they do exist, it's all over anyway. So it's like,
Well, no,
Yeah.
because you have the king in yellow who rules worlds, and you have the guys who live in the corner of your eye and all that other fun shit.
Yeah. I got the king here.
King and King and
Ooh.
Yellow. There you go.
Yep. And then Cthulhu's up here under the sleeve and Yogg-Sothoth on the other arm.
I love it. Love it. See, that's my realm, is Eldritch horror.
Oh yeah, that's why I love Delta Green, because they like reinterpret the unnatural, the Lovecraftian unnatural in interesting ways.
I'm picking up that vibe, and it makes me want to try it even more.
Oh heck yeah.
I just
So,
want to be an abjuration wizard with my books and my strength score of 6. Okay.
I support you, because if I weren't a sorcerer, I'd probably be a wizard. I just don't lack the attention span to read all those books
Mm-hmm.
anymore. I just want the fast and easy answer.
Oh,
you
yeah,
sell yourself.
definitely warlock.
Yeah.
But yeah. Are we rolling again, Chuck? Is there another?
Yes, you are. Roll me another
Okay.
d20.
Ha! What do we got? 16.
Oh, what is something that you love to add to your NPCs?
I
Hats.
yes, hats. Yes.
Saw that.
So like, if this is an NPC in passing, I like to make them just a little odd so they're memorable, and also a little uncomfortable. Like, I like to make them a little too friendly a lot of the time. And for like NPCs that are important to the story, I really, because I like a lot of horror gaming, really try to make sure they are affected by the horror that I'm presenting and
Mm,
have it be something at least somewhat tangible in them, in order to make sure that the vibe comes through, that the tone is like seen by the players, they can react to it. Like in Delta Green, if I am running a horror game with that system, right? I have someone who has a clue, like someone's a clue machine. I don't just want there to be like a brief conversation with no opportunity for role play or like digging into who this person is. I really want to let that like malevolence that they're infused with linger. And that's more fun to me because then I can give them personality.
okay.
In this day and age, too, just someone being too friendly, I often find people are more suspicious of than someone being a bit creepy.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. Especially in a horror setting, it's like, what does he know? He's going to murder
Uh-huh.
us asleep.
All right. You want to roll again?
Sure.
All right.
Nat 20
I'd
this
love
time.
nothing more. I got a fun and frisky 11.
Okay. I think you may have answered this in a way.
Oh.
What's your favorite character you're currently playing? I think you kind of answered
Oh,
this one.
currently.
Maybe not.
I haven't put this character together yet. I am going to do a one shot that I can't really talk about much next week. And it's a recorded audio only thing. And I think I'm just going to play the GM. I'm just going to do a really mean caricature of the GM.
Oh,
And I'm gonna get real nasty about it, and we're gonna see how it goes. I think, and that's gonna be real fun.
do
I
they
want to make
know?
it real uncomfortable, and that's gonna make it real funny.
Do
But
they know?
outside, what?
Do they know?
No,
Oh,
that's
that's even
that's
better.
why. Yeah, I'm gonna surprise them. But if I don't do that, so that not having yet been played, Michael is near and dear to my heart in all our faults. Um, I did a mini series with Zeal Zaddy where we played what was it? Slaunchwise to the Mountain, which is like a a long form scenario for oh my god, Gods of Appalachia, Old Gods of Appalachia.
Okay.
And I played this sort of curious, intelligent Boston aristocrat. Evangeline was her name, and she went down into the boonies to like study an isolated culture to see how religious practices had veered. So she was like an early sociologist, anthropologist in the 20s, sort of wealthy Boston elite, going down to talk to these simple folks. But she was good natured about it, and she really was curious about them. And I think I found a lot of joy in playing her and exploring curiosity through her, but also having just a real fun time getting weird with it. I really liked her a lot.
All right. All right.
I do like having a real fun time getting weird with it. That's just every
Yeah.
TTRPG I play. It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm starting to really try and find my rhythm of getting comfortable getting weird on camera as a new character. I've done it a couple of times as one of the Power Ranger characters that in another game I was playing.
Mm-hmm.
I was getting that one was really interesting for me because I was the fucking group therapist for the Rangers.
Amazing.
I did not plan that, but I was definitely like the
Aw.
therapist for the group. It was interesting. So,
It's
Hmm.
a
but no one checked
it's a
up on the therapist.
it's okay, Chuck. If we do a show together next year, we can totally get weird with it in things we're planning at the moment. So
Good.
we
And
definitely
hey,
get
if
weird.
it's shorter form, I could get weird with it too, because that sounds fun. Yeah, another character I loved was in that Star Trek game I mentioned with GM Winter.
Mhm.
I played a Vulcan science officer, which I had wanted to do for years. And Lieutenant T'Pray, she was a delight, and I really, really loved inhabiting like a Vulcan mind space
Sure.
or headspace. And there was a moment where like the BBEG was this god on a planet we had traveled to, and I ended up in like a nether space intellectually with this god, arguing, like having a logic argument as to pray with Winter, the GM, as this malevolent god. And it was so fun to just try to logic my way through all of that and insult a god at the same time, like allowing the sort of Vulcan passive aggression to just eke out. And that was such an interesting player slash performance challenge. And that's something I will remember forever. I loved that a lot. Yeah.
God, how much restraint did you have to have as a Vulcan, though?
That's the thing, especially for me as a chaos goblin,
Right.
like, I really had to challenge my own range to do Vulcan, and I loved it. I felt like that character really sang, and I really, really wanna play, like, Star Trek Adventures, like, the 2nd edition, and do another, if not the same, Vulcan science officer. I'd love to do, like, a mini series with Star Trek.
Yeah. So there's a race in Power Rangers. They're called Triforians. I That was the character I played. So the fun thing about
Ah.
them, if you don't know, is that they're often three individuals that represent one being, and they're different emotional spectrums. My character didn't particularly split until way late in the game, just for
Mhm.
character reasons. Um, and it was um, he split into anger, passion, and wisdom.
Oh.
So I had to every game play since the split. I had to play three different personalities,
Amazing. I love that.
and I didn't get to dive into it as much as I would want it to. But I think that would be very fun to kind of dive in. It's like, all right, I'm the same person, but one is definitely more in tune with their anger. One's more definitely more wise. One's definitely more passionate about these things. Um, so it's definitely an interesting thing to do.
Yeah, like playing a lawful good character who had like a set religion and code, and it's like we can't just be a chaos goblin and fireball people was
Mhm.
a stretch for me. And also one of my favorite characters I've ever played, who was an abjuration wizard in a game called Grammar, who was a horrific changeling monster in a Curse of Strahd campaign,
Amazing.
um,
Love it.
who was born 3 months ago. So you've given a toddler like level 10 wizard powers. It was insane. Um, just was learning about the world and being investigative, but and also like not knowing what the consequences of actions were until it was too late, and then having to ratify that as someone with the emotional experience of being alive for 3 months. And that was a whole situation.
Hmm.
A whole situation, especially when the rest of the party were chaos goblins, and I was like,
Mhm.
oh no, they're rubbing off on me, it's too late now, what a shame.
One thing I'd like to do with characters is really start with an absurd premise and be funny and goofy, but then find sincerity along the way. I did a series, and we're going to do a second season of it with Tabletop Tailspinners. I can't remember if it's out yet, so I'm not going to talk about what it is. But I can talk about the character a bit. I played this loud crab man with a spear who did magic and worshipped the Or crab at the depths of the ocean. And he was brought to the party by like dreams and visions from the Or crab that drew him to them to like be on a journey to save the world. And he was an inhuman intelligence who didn't understand things like propriety or sensitivity or feelings. So I was just constantly loud and obnoxious and a little mean. But over time, I found ways for him to learn what sensitivity was and to really understand how people felt. And that brought a nuance and depth to the character that I really loved.
Alex, you got another question?
Oh, I was just waiting to roll again because I just like people rolling things.
Okay, all right.
Like roll the dice, roll the dice.
I can do that. All right.
I got 20 questions over here.
Ooh, it's a 19. It's not a nat 20.
All right. What's
But
the
it
worst
does
thing that's happened on a nat 1?
The worst thing that's happened on a nat 1? Ooh, I don't know. I actually can't remember. And then I don't know. I embrace like failure and middling success so much that they all are just little bits of joy for me. I don't know that I can remember a specific nat 1 outside of that first character I ever played dying, partly because I failed a reflex save with a nat 1. So just the damage doubled on that breath weapon when we were level 3. Yep.
Yeah, I roll so shitty.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. I don't know if I rolled a 1. I did not pass the check. I know that was the Shadow Dark game that I don't know if you've played Shadow Dark, but there's a torch mechanic, a light mechanic that's there.
I haven't played it yet. I am familiar with it. I am theoretically going to be doing a Shadow Dark miniseries with someone in the relatively near future.
Nice. It's fun.
So I'm excited.
Great.
Yeah. The torch mechanic's cool.
It really is. So one of the first things that James had us do was try and light a torch, and the person before me failed. So it was my turn. I had to light a torch because we were in the middle of the pitch black, and bad shit happens in the black, in the dark, in Shadow Dark. I failed that roll, and then I think the next person, they were able to light the torch, and immediately we were surrounded by undead. I am the cleric, and it's the monster's turn, and they attack me, and I only have 4 HP, and I think they did double damage.
Yep.
Immediately. I'm the only one who's got like turn undead.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that tracks.
I'm down immediately.
James knew what he was doing with that one. That was just me.
He really did. He had no idea. And James, he's kind of watching on the side, but one of the first, when we were doing first starting our home games, it was me and his son just like playing with as James as the GM, and one of the very first roll his son does is a nat 1, and he's trying to do like some like blacksmithy thing, and I look at James and I'm like, you better not hurt this boy. It's his first fucking roll.
Well, that's why we have fail forwards, right? Like,
yeah, and he just like, the worst that happened was that he fucked up blacksmithing like 2 pieces of metal together. But I looked at him, I was like, you better not.
Mm-hmm.
Immediately loses a hand. You hammer your hand into the coals. It's gone. Sorry. That's not the game we signed up for. We don't immediately name children in the game. Or do we?
Or do we?
Not at Tabletop Misfits. Only we haven't named any children yet, and that's a good track record. So follow us, I guess. Like and subscribe.
Yeah.
You know, I guess Michael counted as a child, and I was definitely repeatedly maimed.
Don't like.
So we do. We maim children at IOF. Yep.
Not yet. Not yet. There's always the channel's still going. We have time. We'll get to it eventually.
I believe in you. I have faith.
You.
That's the goal.
Thank you. I've been reading through Candela Obscura, and I'm very excited about potential maimings.
Heck yeah.
I think we got time for one more question before we got to start wrapping up.
Ooh.
You want to roll one more, or do you want me to just like pull a question from the list?
You know what? Pick one you're feeling frisky with.
All right.
Get weird with it, Chuck.
Yeah. Remember, embrace the cringe.
Embrace the cringe. I gotta
Hashtag
find it.
Juicy Garland endorses this message.
Yes, that's right. Um. Okay. Well, it's not really cringy, but it is a good one. As a DM, have you ever made a ruling in a game that you later regretted, and were there any consequences?
No, I'm perfect.
Well,
No, let me actually try to think. Uh,
we already talked about failing.
right, yeah. Have I yeah. So I made a scenario for the Queer XP, Delta Green yet again, that I really love, but I did not play test it because there wasn't time and whatever. I definitely overpowered a certain enemy that just sort of pops up for flavor, and I had to correct and not kill one of the characters because it wasn't the time to kill them. I killed everybody later on, so it was fine at the climax. It was the wrong timing and it was bad pacing to let this character die right then. So I pulled the punch. And I don't regret pulling the punch, but I do regret not really considering sort of the pacing of the overall scenario to raise the temperature effectively without raising the stakes too quickly. And that was a good lesson for me in writing scenarios for AP later on down the road.
All right. So not OP, not make your BBEG OP too soon.
Yeah, yeah. Like keep the stakes high, threaten them with death, and if death happens fairly, good. But if it's not a fair design choice, it's good to be plastic and recognize that and not be too beholden to what you wrote down on the paper.
Yeah,
Mm.
I had an experience like that. James and I were doing one of the like halfway through the Power Rangers thing. We had a moment where I needed to humble everybody
Yeah.
because they were smashing it through every fight. Like there was no challenge for them. I was like, oh man. James was like, you need to give them a humbling
Mhm.
moment. Like, all right. I gave him a humbling moment because about half the team went down in one round.
Amazing. Love that.
They didn't die. I mean, it's hard to die in Power Rangers. You can do it, but it wasn't the goal. It was like you're not as powerful as you think you are.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they enjoyed it after that. They were like, "Oh, oh."
Yeah, and I will say one thing I definitely regret is when I crossed that red line a couple of times in that game. And I'm not going to say which game because I don't want to single out the person with the red line because it's my fault, not theirs. Not being more cognizant of those sensitivities when I was designing the scenarios for each episode. I regret not being more mindful of that and not adapting my style more fluidly.
Mm.
That's something I have learned from and will be better about in the future. And I definitely regret that. That was definitely a mistake.
Would you say if player death is early, but it's a consequence of them fucking around and finding out that that's acceptable?
Well, then they've found out, haven't they?
Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah. That's not a failure of design.
that's a
That's a skill issue.
that's a skill issue. Hey, hey, hey! Look, I speak for anyone who has like shitty roles on a regular basis.
Mhm.
It's not always our fault.
I was referring more to if someone's really pushing it and they're like being really
Yeah.
antagonistic in game, like a "that's what my character would do" moment,
Oh
and
no, not the
they kick
consequences of
something.
my actions.
The consequences of their actions catch up with them, and they kick something off that they're not supposed to, and they find out, and
Yep, absolutely.
too bad.
And hopefully they learn.
Hopefully,
Yeah.
it's a good lesson in teamwork. We don't go off by ourselves. We stick with the party. Everyone, please.
Mhm.
Well, I think it's almost about time we wrap up.
Okay.
Yeah. So, Juicy, before we go into our little spiel of sponsors and what's going on our end,
Mhm.
why don't you tell everyone out there where they can find you, what you're
Yeah.
up
Oh
to.
god. Yep. So at Juicy Garland or at Juicy.Garland, search one, you'll find the other if it's wrong. You can find me on All Our Faults, Monster Hearts 2 actual play pod that is produced by Tabletop Tailspinners. You can also find me in Delta Green Dead channels, the official subscription podcast from Arc Dream, and it's great. not just the stuff I'm doing. I'm not all of it. Also, Roleplay Public Radio, good friend Ross Payton runs that and does amazing things. He also works with Arc Dream, and I'm in a few episodes both of upcoming Roleplay Public Radio, the normal stuff, and then also the Patreon stuff. You can also find me at PAX Unplugged. I'm doing a big live gaming event with MythWorks. I'm really excited about. I did this with them at Gen Con, and they're doing a much bigger version of what they tried at Gen Con at PAX Unplugged. So you'll find me there, or you'll find me walking around. I'm going to be in drag a couple of times, including for the MythWorks Day, or you'll find me at a drag like this. Outside of that, keep your attention on my socials because I'm going to have more stuff coming out. And I'm doing more recordings coming out, some really cool stuff, I might add, that I just can't announce yet because I don't know when it will be out. But yeah, thank you for having me. I really appreciate being here.
Oh, glad you're making it in. Alex, you want to go through the sponsors again real quick?
No, I think it's your turn this time, Chuck. I did the beginning. You can do the end. It's your turn now.
Fine. This is old hat for me, right? Oh man, James beat me to it. He's watching, a little punk. All right. First off, I know you don't hear the music, but go check out our friends over at Monument Studios. We use hey, he said not to say it again. I'm gonna say it again anyway. Go check out Monument Studios.
You ever feel like your boss is watching you?
Yeah, I do.
You ever get that feeling of someone's eyes over your shoulder?
Did you say go check out Monument Studios?
Oh my god!
Wow,
Yeah,
I'll have to do that right now.
Thank you, Juicy.
Now.
Thank you, Juicy.
Because I'm a fan, and all fans check out the sponsors and use those discount codes to say how much they love you.
God, you're doing my job for me, Juicy. All right,
we try.
I'm done.
Giving us money does show proportionately how much you love us, and so if you love us lots, please give us money. We'd appreciate that through affiliate links. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yep.
No. So anyway, before I got off track, we do have all the sponsor stuff and the codes in the chat. What we have going on tomorrow, come back here, 9:30 p.m. Eastern time. I'm going to be back in the garage. I'm going to paint some more Gundam minis from the card game. They're great. It's the gun cannon and the RX-78-2 Grandpa Gundam, the original. Woohoo. Hopefully I'll get through both of them tomorrow night. We'll see. Sunday, come by. We got a recording of Night of the Worm. You can see our Alex playing her werewolf and James playing his werewolf. Yeah, her werewolf.
Playing her werewolf.
That's
and
it.
Sam and Dungeon Samster, aka Sam from Tabletop Misfits, as the lovely storyteller, and also tons of hot people who are playing vampires and werewolves. It's a good time. Come watch it.
Yeah. See, I'm not in it, so that's false advertisement.
Oh wow! Well, that's true. It is true. You're very pretty. You're very pretty.
No, but yeah, it's gonna be back 7:00 Eastern.
Yes.
So same time as Power Rangers usually. So 7:00 Eastern Sunday night. Night of the Worm. Come check it out. Come support us. And then we'll be back here on Wednesday for another episode of Tavern Talks. And then the cycle repeats all over again.
And it's actually just Juicy again, but in drag, so we can pretend it's a different guest.
It could be done on a night when I don't have a work dinner.
That's true.
All right. So I think with that, I think we'll wrap up. Everyone, raise your glasses high. This has been Tavern Talks. Stick around. We are going to go for a raid.
Am I taking us off live to go to the raid, or are we raiding now?
I'm going to raid now.
Ooh wee.
Oh, I see James already.
Oh, do we have to? I see enough of him.
Tell me about it. All right.
Cold.